I'm taking Google back to Marketing 101. Yes, today we're talking about their game streaming service Stadia and how they failed at very basic marketing while launching and supporting the platform. Let's get into it. Hello YouTube, welcome back to the BizFluence YouTube channel where we teach you how to think like a marketer about all things branding, business, and marketing. I am your host Martin, a marketing expert with over 10 years of experience working with brands in the US, Canada, and the UK. Today we're taking a closer look at Google's first effort to enter the video game industry with their game streaming service Stadia. But as always, before we start, a little bit of background. Google Stadia is a game streaming platform where users can play games directly off the cloud, meaning that they do not need a console or powerful computer to play video games. All they need is a controller, an internet connection, and a device to run Stadia off of. This device can be a phone, a laptop, or a Chromecast. The biggest selling point of game streaming is that your gaming experience won't be limited by the power of the devices you own. Want to play the latest games on your 2-year-old phone at max graphics? Sure, just stream it. No need to buy an expensive console or PC. And there's no need to upgrade your console every 6 years either. Now, this is a selling point for all game streaming services, not just Stadia. In fact, Stadia has a lot of competition in this space. Microsoft has Xbox Game Pass, Amazon has Amazon Luna, Nvidia has Nvidia GeForce Now, PlayStation has PlayStation Now, and even Steam is rumored to be working on their own streaming service of their own. So in order to be successful in this industry, Google had to bring their best to the table, especially considering that 1, they were new to the space, and 2, they're very famous for just killing off unsuccessful projects out of nowhere. Seriously, how many Google Chat apps have we had already? I think like 1 million probably. Knowing all this, Google launched Google Stadia on 2019 and it's been, well, not great. Since launch, Google Stadia has been riddled with controversy after controversy and has really struggled to build a significant audience. From giving away Stadia kits for free to closing all of their first-party development studios before they got to fully develop any exclusive games at all. While Stadia has never publicly published any user base numbers, insiders from the company say that they have missed user base numbers by a very big margin. That's not good for Stadia. But what happened? Isn't game streaming the future of gaming? Isn't it all the rage? And why have other companies been successful at creating game streaming products but Google hasn't? Well, let's get into it. This is why Stadia failed. It might come to no surprise to you, but I actually think Stadia failed due to some very basic marketing mistakes they've made along the way. I'm talking about very basic marketing 101 stuff. Yeah, it's that bad. Hear me out. The biggest marketing concept that Google overlooked was marketing positioning. Marketing positioning refers to the way that companies will establish a brand in consumers' minds. Marketing positioning basically answers the following questions. Who is our ideal customer? Why would that customer want our product? And how does our product satisfy the needs of those customers? A great example of marketing positioning at play are the famous Mac versus PC ads, where Apple positioned themselves as the hip, laid-back, and efficient guy in comparison to PC. An example of bad positioning would be the time that Microsoft positioned their newly announced Xbox One as a TV streaming first device at E3 in front of an audience of gamers. Seriously, what were they thinking? Anyone that knows anything about business will tell you that this is a very basic concept that companies should spend time on during the product development process. Not only is it very basic, it's also very important. Positioning lets you define your product in the eyes of the customer. It lets you set the narrative of your own product. If you want to learn more about market positioning, refer to the piece in the description by Emma Bilardi, which goes more in depth with the concept. So how did Stadia fail at positioning their product? Well, let's take a look at their marketing and we're going to reverse engineer their marketing positioning from there. So this will be a little bit of a marketing exercise. We're going to go through some of Stadia's unique features and then we'll see how those solve problems for customers. Remember, we're talking about unique features, not features that any other game streaming services have, but the ones that are unique to Stadia and make them different from the bunch. One of Stadia's biggest unique features is 4K game streaming. Okay, so with this feature, we can assume that the ideal Stadia user has enough disposable income to have a 4K TV or 4K monitor that can play 4K content. They also have enough disposable income to have a really good internet connection that can stream content in 4K. However, this target ideal user does not have enough disposable income to have a gaming device or computer that can run games in 4K already. A little bit odd, most people that have 4K TVs have stuff that runs on 4K, but hey, let's keep going. While with a Stadia Pro subscription, you can get free games every month, most AAA titles on Stadia are full price, meaning that the ideal Stadia user has enough disposable income to pay for the monthly subscription and for games at full price, but not enough disposable income to already have a gaming PC or console. That's a little bit of an odd one to me. Who would have enough disposable income to be okay with paying full price for games, but not okay for paying for a console? It seems weird. Next up, we have Crossplay. While some games on Stadia do have Crossplay, which means people can play with their friends on PlayStation, Xbox, and other PC platforms, not all of them do. So that means that the ideal Stadia customer would not care about playing with friends on other platforms, or at least not that much. So let's do one more. So while Stadia advertised that they had all these development studios and they were going to come up with games exclusive to Stadia, they have now shut down all of their studios and have announced that they do not plan to pursue any original games, exclusive games for Stadia. So now let's do a little bit of recap. The ideal Stadia user has enough disposable income to have a 4K TV or monitor and an internet connection that can stream games in 4K, but not enough disposable income to already have a gaming PC or gaming console that can run games at 4K. This customer is also not okay with buying a gaming console or gaming PC, but is okay with paying a monthly fee and full price for games. This ideal customer also doesn't care much for crossplay, especially during a time where a lot of people are spending more time at home and gaming online is a big way to keep in contact with friends and family. And lastly, the ideal Stadia user doesn't care about exclusive. They don't want Bethesda games, they don't want PlayStation games, they don't want Nintendo games. Hell, they don't want some of the most popular games in the world, Minecraft, Fortnite, Among Us, you know, all of those big games that the kids love. Now, here's a key question. Does that person exist? Seriously, who is this product for? Google, please tell me, because I honestly don't know. What person kind of fits all of those categories already? Are there enough people in the world that fit that mold that it's worth spending millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to build a product for them? Did Google do any kind of marketing research before coming up with their product strategy? Or did they just look at a piece of paper that said, game streaming is the future, and then just went ahead with it and wrote a check for $1 bajillion? Actually, I'm pretty sure that that's what happened. I seriously think that the ideal Stadia user that uses all of its features at the fullest doesn't actually exist, or probably already has a console that is just as powerful as Stadia. How did Google mess up something so basic? I guess it didn't help that during their launch event, they were displaying a bunch of failed consoles next to their own system, but you know, whatever, I digress. The problem is that when you mess up your positioning this badly, you end up not knowing what kind of product you're building, but more importantly, not knowing who you're building it for. What's the point of building a multi-million-dollar product when you don't even know who your target customer is? No matter how many sales they run or how much advertising they do, this product will fail if they don't change the positioning. That means it's not impossible to save this product. But it won't be easy and it won't be cheap. Repositioning a tech product rarely is. To me, what makes Stadia positioning so frustrating is that, first of all, the product is actually really good. Out of all of the game streaming services that I've used, and I've used many of them, theirs was the simplest, most straightforward, and the less laggy one. Click on a game and boom, you're playing, at really high qualities too. The second reason why this is so frustrating, it's because Google literally owns the largest gaming website in the world and the two largest search engine websites in the world, and they barely use them to leverage the growth of Stadia. People watched over 100 billion hours of gaming content on YouTube in 2020, with that number expected to grow in 2021, regardless of the pandemic. That is an insane number. But when I'm watching a gaming YouTube video, there are no prompts telling me that I could be playing this game right now on Stadia. YouTube knows what game the video is about. Why not promote playing it on Stadia? This was hyped up as a Stadia feature for a while, but it's been 2 years and it's still not there. Instead, we get a feature that lets us play with streamers. Yay! I bet that's doing great numbers for your user acquisition, Google. Google also owns 2 of the largest search engine websites in the world, those being Google and YouTube. Yeah, sorry, Bing fanatics. However, they refuse to use any of them to promote Google Stadia. Look at how silly this is. When I search for a movie on Google or YouTube, I get a prompt to buy or rent a movie on YouTube for cheap. But when I search for a game that is on Stadia on both websites, I get nothing. Absolutely nothing. But hey, your users can now play with streamers on Stadia. Yay! No wonder your user base is not growing. With the amount of gaming-related traffic that both YouTube and Google attract, there's no reason for both of them to become huge user acquisition tools for Google Stadia. Lastly, I would also make a huge change in Stadia. I would get rid of paying full price for games. Hey, I told you this wasn't going to be cheap. Instead of dumping money on first-party studios and 4K streaming bandwidth that probably most users aren't even using in the first place, I would dump money into inexpensive licensing deals that will allow you to offer the games on the service for just the monthly fee. If every time anyone on Earth searched for the latest game or whenever they watched a video about said game, if every time that happened, they got a prompt telling them that they could play the entire game right now just for $10 a month? Oh man, user acquisition go brrrr. Yes, those licensing deals would be really expensive, but that's money well spent that will give you more user acquisition than being able to play with streamers or streaming at 4K. Think about it this way. What's a better use of a bunch of millions of dollars? A, getting expensive licensing deals that allows you to offer AAA games for just the monthly fee on Stadia? Or building out expensive development studios that might or might not develop a hit game on your platform. The fact that Google didn't ask themselves this question while building out Stadia is mind-boggling to me, especially because the answer is obvious. That's definitely a product that can generate a lot of demand in the market, unlike the current positioning that's all nonsense that they got going on right now. Can't beat executive decisions, I guess. And that's how we ended up with Stadia. The product, perfect for no one. A perfect waste of potential. Will Google just kill off Stadia? Maybe sell the tech to another gaming company? Or will they make the changes required to make it a success? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to be updated on future videos. Or you can also check out my previous video where I talked about Discord's new logo. Alright, that's it for me today. I'll see you next time. Bye.